Hello everyone, Amod here from the Target Common YouTube channel, and in this video I am going to explain about Git. So this will be introductory post video on Git, and in my previous video I've already explained about the version control system. So this will be continuing to that video, and if you have not watched my previous video, please go and watch because that you need to understand what is version control system. So if I say in the simple words what is Git, then Git is a distributed version control system. So again, why I said, because the term here you see version control system, which I've explained in my previous video. But just to give you a short introduction of version control system, I can give you an example here. So suppose there is an application and multiple, or you can say a team of 5 developers are working on that, and suppose you have written some code for a feature in any programming language such as Java or Python, whatever you like, and and that code needs to be reviewed by some senior. Okay, and suppose if you don't have any system which can help you to get it reviewed, so you generally send the file to your senior people, and then they will go and review and they might modify as well. Okay, so here if you see, if you don't have any version control system, so you don't have any track when the file was changed and what was changed and by whom it was changed. You were the first developer who created the file, but your senior changed the file, updated the file, but you don't have any history here. And also, like, suppose when all the 5 developers are working, so end of the day they need to merge the code, then only one application will be built. It's not like that every developer will develop their own application, no, right? So end of the day you need to merge the code. So there are multiple scenarios in which you need a system which can help you to solve these problems, and that system can be called as version control system, and Git is that. Git is a version control system, but don't forget to mention distributed version control system here, because this is the key. Distributed is the key. So what happens in distributed version control system, when suppose there is a project, okay, and there are 5 members in a team. So all the 5 members will have the copy of the project with the complete history. It's not like centralized server. Okay, means everyone needs to interact with the central server only. If the central server is down, then no one can work. Okay, but that is not the case with the distributed version control system, because everyone will have their own copy. So just to give the definition of version control system, so it is a utility or software which helps us to track and manage changes to a file system or code repo for better collaboration among developers to develop an application, right? You see the term here, track and manage changes to a file. It can keep a history of changes in a file, including who has changed and what was changed. So that is the thing, that is the key. So suppose if someone, because of someone's changes, if your application is down, so you know that, okay, who was changed, who had changed some the code and what was changed, so you can revert it. So the advantages of Git we can see here. So I've listed down here some advantages like branching and merging, small and fast, distributed, data assurance, staging area, and free and open source. And I have taken this from official website of Git. So let me give you a brief overview of all these advantages. And if you are very new to Git, so you may not understand all these advantages as of now, but when I explain all the concept of Git, then you can relate it easily. So branching and merging, and I feel this is the best feature provided by Git. So suppose an application will consist multiple features, right? And there's nothing like you need to develop the feature one by one. You can have multiple branches and you can create, or you can develop the feature in different branches, and those branches are independent to each other. Or suppose if you have a bug, there's a bug and you need to fix the code, right? Fix the that. So you can create a branch from the main branch and you can fix the defect. Okay, and you can merge it to the main branch. So this is the thing, branching. Okay, you can create as many branches you want. You can create a branch for some try or something like that. And again, if you create the branch, so you need to merge that branch to the master branch, means you need to club all the codes, right? So that is very easy here. And you can see the third point, frictionless context switching. Suppose you're working on feature 1 and your manager asks you to work on another feature which is more critical. So you can easily switch a branch. You can easily switch a branch, or you can start working on that. Okay, so that's why it means frictionless context switching, and this is the best feature provided by Git. It's small and fast. As I mentioned, Git is a distributed version control system in which every developer will have the copy of the project with the complete history. Okay, and all the, not all the, but most of the Git operations are performed locally. Like if you want to add the file to index, or you're unstaging, removing, whatever you do, that will perform locally until you need to send the file, send the commits to your server. Okay, that time only it interacts with your remote. So that's why the Git operations are faster compared to Subversion and all, where you need to, for each operation need to connect to the server and the operation will be slow. So second point, you see initial clone operation is the only place where Git is slow. You can find this in interview objective questions which in which ask in which operation in Git is slow. So that is Git clone. When we cloning a project first time, okay, so that time it downloads the project with the complete history. That's why it takes some more time, and it is slow. Okay, only one operation slow in Git, that is Git clone. And also if you see when it's clone the project, so you did see the size, it will not be huge. So they are very efficient at compressing and storing data on the client side, means on your system. Then distributed, so Git clones entire repository including complete history. As I mentioned, every developer will have their own copy of the project with the history. So you have obviously you have multiple backups, like compared to centralized server where you have all the code in center server itself. If that center server is down, no one can work, and you may lost all the data. But that is not the case with Git here, because that is distributed and you have multiple backups here. For if the system is corrupted for one user, that doesn't mean that all users will lose the data. And the third one supports version style workflow. So in Git also you need to have a common server. You have a one server where you all the merged code will be pushed. In that case, what happens, suppose if you take a fetch, okay, if you fetch the project and someone else has pushed the new changes to the remote, so obviously you cannot push your changes until you fetch it again. That is the practice followed in centralized server. Okay, and the same thing is probably Git as well. Then data assurance, this is again one of the major feature provided by Git. So Git ensures the cryptographic integrity of every bit of a project. Okay, so let me give you a very simple example to understand this one. Suppose if you have changed some file, you have created some file and you commit it, so no one else can modify that file, modify this file malfunction, or suppose they will do some changes and it will be on your name. No, that too is not possible. Why? Because if someone wants to edit, want to change anything, so there will be new ID. So for every so if any operation is performed, that will be recorded. So that's why every file and commit is checksum, then retrieved by its checksum when checked back out. Okay, so means what happens, because your file will be on server, and when you clone and when you fetch, so your that file will be downloaded in your system. So in that process it makes sure that no data is lost or tampered. So they have their own algorithm in which they maintain the integrity of your project, that no one should be allowed to change anything which is not expected. So here you can see the term checksum, right? So it's something like a numerical value calculated from a series of bits of digital data, often by summing their values, used to test whether the data has changed during the storage or transmission. Means before the storage or transmission you have some value, and after that also you should get the same value, in short. Okay, that's called checksum. Then we have staging area. So in Git we generally have three parts, like working directory, in which you are more creating or modifying the files, and then once you are done with that, so you generally go and add it to intermediary area, that is called staging area. And here whatever you want to sent to your remote, or whatever you think that you this changes should be part of a remote project or remote branch, that you can put into push to the staging area first. And suppose you have modified or get a multiple files, but if you want to do if you want to, or if you just want to send some files, that also possible. It's not needed that you need to send all the changes whatever you have done locally. So from working directory you will have all the changes whatever you want to push to the remote. You can put those changes to staging, and then from staging you can push to your remote repo. Then free and open source. So obviously Git is free, and that's why it is in demand. And you can see it's like Git is released under the GNU General Public License version 2, which is an open source license. And so you can see it's like uses GPL2. So to guarantee your freedom to share and changes free software, to make sure the software is free for all of its users. So what is meaning of generally open source means anyone can go and change the code. Okay, but nothing like that anyone can go and push anything, right? So that need to be approved. But yeah, if you are making some, if you are adding some adding new features or some meaningful changes, so obviously they can approve it. So that's all in this video, and from next video we'll start learning more about Git. So stay tuned. If you have any doubt, please comment on this video. If you like my videos, please like, comment, subscribe, and share with others. Thank you everyone.